Burton, what we were talking about earlier, on a show I did with him, I tremulously raised the subject of booze. And I said, would you talk about it? And as you know, he did, and he looked into the camera and delivered a very moving speech, really, about if it's your enemy as well as it is mine, I know what you're going through, and so on and so on. This was actually clipped out and used by AA and others because it was so well done. Now, you fall into the same category. You've had a period that's always written about excessive boozing and wildness, and if you think O'Toole and Burton were something, you should have seen Hopkins at his best or worst, and so on, and you've beaten it.
Yeah, I was pretty mild, really, compared to those Hellraisers.
You declined the title, do you?
Yeah, I did. I gave up the championship. Yeah. I was just a nuisance more than anything. I wasn't really a Hellraiser. I was just in a lot of trouble. I was just a nuisance. Yeah. And one day, some years ago now, I stopped. I thought, this is crazy. And I was very tired and fed up with myself, and I stopped.
Was it just an act of will? Did you have help?
I got some help for it, and and I realized that I wasn't alone with it, and that was the end of that. I'm glad to say, and I never thought it would be possible to live without it, because it was my only sustenance, it was my only way of coping. And now I've got into the habit over the years of not drinking, and life is so much better.
My guess is that the Welsh have a higher rate of depression than other races. I haven't seen the statistics on it. We know the Scandinavians do.
Yeah.
And
it's a pretty gloomy land.
Yeah.
It's very isolated on the little peninsula. And they're very melancholy people. The Irish have got much more going for them because they're much more extrovert and crazier than the Welsh. The Welsh are rather repressed.
Yeah.
Good people, though. I don't have problems with being Welsh or non-Welsh or anything.
Okay.
My Welsh colleagues will say, "What are you saying? You're a Welsh actor." No, English. Yeah. I say, "Oh, forget it." So I say British now, just to hedge my bet.
If only England looked like it does in Howard's End all the time.
Isn't it beautiful?
I would have been happy to be in 1910 in England.
You enjoyed the film?
Very much. Isn't there a way in which it's a little easier for an actor to play an insane man than it is to play a terribly ordinary man who has dimensions to him that have to be seen? Like this man that you play is proper, he's repressed, he does not like the lower classes, he eventually collapses. It seems to me, in a way, it would be harder to play someone like that than to play a madman.
Well, because of one's vanity, you always wanted to look good, you always want to be the sympathetic character. So playing Wilcox, you don't have much chance. Yeah. What I try to do is, I'm wearing that silly cap, and looking like, whatever they call it. And, but it is difficult, but not as difficult as that, but it's much more fun playing the villains.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. To see what a son of a bitch you can be.
Yeah, it's much more dimension to it.
Yeah. Have you known any madmen? Other than those in our profession, I mean, there's names that leap to mind right away.
Yes, I know.
I mean by that, have you ever been in the back ward of an old asylum? Or
no, but I've actually met a madman who's on the loose in London, and that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
And I had coffee with him one day. I realized how nuts he was. He never blinked. So I based
That's
lecture.
interesting.
Never blinked. Kept asking me questions. And before you could answer them, he'd ask you another one and another one. And in the end, it made you feel that you were in a different reality.
So at any given moment in talking with him, you didn't see the insanity?
No. You completely... it's like somebody I used to know, a woman who used to sort of kick you on the shins and then say, "Don't you have a sense of humor?" and smile. That kind of madness. They could change reality for you. But those people can really manipulate you. I think Kathy Bates in Misery is the most brilliant piece of mad acting I've ever seen.
Really? Yeah, sure.
Because I knew this woman in America. She was exactly like Kathy Bates in this film. You never know what you're going to do. You say you don't know how to handle them. You don't know how to. You can't pay them a compliment. You make them. They say, "What do you mean by that?"
Yeah. And as Hannibal, now I realize you didn't move a lot.
No, and I didn't blink.
And you didn't blink?
No.
A doctor I know who used to work in the old back wards of asylums said the scariest thing about the truly insane was that they seemed to be like many other people you had met.
Yeah.
And not, except for a moment when they were convinced that there was someone standing behind that door with a noose.
Yes.
And that we might be wise to avoid them as you leave the room or something. But
it is an uncanny experience being with somebody who's mad,
Do you agree that there's 5 or 6 people I could name in our business who, if it weren't for acting, would be locked up somewhere, but they have that wonderful outlet?
Well, we're not allowed to mention names. Yeah, there are a couple of those.
I mean, you've gotten to be Hitler, you've gotten to be Captain Bligh.
I think most actors are, I don't want to say that they're mad, but I think most actors are slightly damaged goods, you know. We become actors, because when you think of it, to go on stage in front of 800 people or whatever it was on the first night, it is kind of an act of madness.
Not a sign of mental health, right? No, to start off with. I'm sorry I have to take a break now. Okay. It's interesting. We'll be right back.